Hello, hello. What is up, gamers? Coming at you with another ASMR style One Piece chapter reading on this lovely Sunday morning while my boyfriend sleeps in. Not just that I don't want to wake him, but I don't want to spoil the chapter for him. He'll read it when he gets up. We have a new chapter of One Piece. Last week was a holiday, not just an Oda break, but all of Jump was on break. And I have been eagerly awaiting this one. We are left in quite an exciting position with our multiple nested flashback going strong. The Rocks Pirates hitting the peaks of their power, heading into what we know as kind of the definitive moment in Rocks' career and his crew's career as a collective, not really the career as their individuals, but the moment that leads to them breaking up. The moment where Kaido acquires the dragon fruit, the moment where Kuma is captured by the world nobles, the celestial dragons doing the human hunt, the incident at God's Valley, where we know that Garp teams up with Roger, which is still quite confusing and at this point inexplicable, to battle and defeat Rocks. Which I think can kind of give us a preview of maybe the ultimate allegiances of certain characters in kind of the endgame scenario of One Piece. As I've said many, many times, I think it's going to be a three-faction thing, where Rocks obviously isn't beloved by the world government, neither is Blackbeard, but at the same time, there are people working for the world government like Garp, who may be more sympathetic to, say, the heroics of Luffy and Shanks and them. Anyways, we'll see how it plays out. This is all speculation. I just kind of assume that that's where the story's going. But when you're nested so deep within flashbacks, and basically you're just kind of on this huge side quest learning about Rocks, when really, ultimately, we're eventually going to get back to Elbaf. We're not really guaranteed any of this, like this could be the end of the flashback right here. We could suddenly jump back out and talk about Harold, jump back out and talk about Loki. But I don't know. The title is Legendary Bar, which is exciting. There is a bar, of course, on Elbaf, but I don't think that's going to be the focus. It could be a bar on Fuloled Island, or it could be a bar like a like a bar of metal. It could be Shaki's bar on Sabaody as well, because we know that Shaki is kind of relevant to this era of the story for sure. Anyways, we will find out on the cover. Yamato is visiting the grave of... This is still up in Kuri, so it's probably the fox that had been guarding the swords. I think. Perished without leaving a body behind. That's interesting. I think that's what's going on here. I don't know. It'll probably be more clear in future chapters. I like in the back, Alti is making a gigantic snowman representation of Kaido. Very, very nice cover. Okay. So, yeah, look, they're robbing a charity. There's no way that ultimately the Davy Jones Rocks Blackbeard faction is going to be sympathetic, I don't think. That money was donated for the sake of hungry children. Now, Big Mom saying this is a lie, and they're actually robbing scoundrels that were stealing money meant for charity. I don't know if I believe that either. Maybe this situation is a little more complicated than we think. And yeah, see, they instantly betray each other. Shiki tossing a bomb down to where Kaido and stuff are stuck in the vault. I see. They know about the grift we're running. Oh, shit, okay. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're good guys. There's a lot of layers going on here. It's not like they're taking the money and giving it to hungry children, though. They're just taking it and using it for themselves. Oh! So this is after Whitebeard gets the Quake fruit, of course. Awesome. It's been a long time since we've seen this visual of the Earth's surface shifting and tilting away from itself. Man, can you remember back when the Whitebeard War was coming out? That iconic chapter where the ships rise up out of the water, Whitebeard standing there on the prow. Boom! You're like, what the fuck is happening? The tsunami coming back after? Oh my god. Rivalry between Shiki and Kyo. So yeah, Kyo is a character that I think appears in the movie, right? I think that's why he's like noteworthy and stuff. I don't know. It's been a long time since I saw the movie. I saw the movie when it came out. The Gold movie. Sure. This dude, I can't remember who this is. It's hard to keep track of all these Rocks Pirates dudes. Is just floating in the air. But I really like these scenes. They're so chaotic. It's like not really that different than Luffy's crew, I think, except that they go out of their way to highlight that where Luffy's crew has this same kind of like very chaotic, everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. Everybody's kind of doing things wantonly and desperately and whatever. With Luffy's crew, it's like with an unwavering trust in one another that they'll be able to get out okay, that they'll be fine, that they'll have prepared for this. You know, like there's the assumption that whatever they're doing as individuals is going to come together as like a team. It's going to work out. Whereas here, it's like the exact opposite, where they're all behaving super selfishly, and not only do they not care how this impacts everyone else, but it seems like they'd be happier if they also incidentally took down a few of their crewmates, because that probably means more loot for them. You know, like Shiki, so hey, come pick us up. I guess I'll just kill you. Okay. But I love it. I love that they're making them like comical. I love the little glimpses of personality that you can see here. I love that even though they're obviously an extremely powerful entity on the seas, some of the most powerful characters in the whole series are part of this crew at this time. They're not just kind of like waltzing in and everything is easy. Their personalities are so inherently conflicting and clashing that even though they're way more powerful than anybody they're going up against, it still turns into this very comedic, chaotic mess. Okay. The Navy shows up. They tipped off. Implying that perhaps somebody in the Rock's crew is a turncoat. Shocking. In a crew that only promotes selfishness and getting yours. There's somebody that decided to sell them out. Not really a shocker. I could believe it. I like this. This is very different than the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats typically just run from the Marines, right? After their adventure, this is kind of the end of the arc. This minor arc of robbing the corrupt kingdom's fake charity. They hit the seas and they run away from the Marines because they can't be bothered. And they don't really see any value in wantonly sinking ships and stealing from them. Whereas here, though, of course, Blackbeard, Rocks feels very differently. Just 2 years after their founding, the Rocks Pirates were responsible for 16 recorded raids, 76 sunken ships, 14 ports burned to the ground, 5 towns leveled, 1 kingdom brought to ruin, 3 special violations of Article 18 of world law, and 25 crimes that were completely covered up. Amazing, amazing. Future King of the Pirates, Goldie Roger, also sailed the seas at this time. These few years of frenetic activity might as well be known as the Era of Rocks. Cool, cool, cool. I like it, I like it. And this is also sort of parallel to Luffy's journey versus Blackbeard's journey. Like, Blackbeard kind of got out ahead, and probably, you know, obviously the story is focalized to Luffy, and he's doing very huge and remarkable things. But we get the sense that Blackbeard is just running rampant over the New World and probably over many of the smaller seas and stuff. That probably a lot of people do think of this as the era of Blackbeard, right? Like, that in the absence of Whitebeard, were all these various towns under his protection now no longer have that barrier, there probably is this level of pillaging. And we may see that more explicitly when it comes to the Luffy versus Blackbeard fight. So yeah, likewise, Rocks had this dominion and was causing chaos and was the most powerful entity out there. And then Roger kind of heroically rises up as a counterforce and defeats him. And likewise, Luffy, I think, is going to rise up as a counterforce and defeat him. Perhaps once again teaming up with a sympathetic Marine. Maybe just literally Garp again, but probably Kobe. I think they're very intentionally drawing these generational parallels. But of course, the difference being that Roger was not interested in taking down the world government, it seems, not so much as a focus, but Luffy maybe at that point. Okay. What do you want, Harold? Get lost. People who live in them have no rights. World government doesn't make all the world rules of the world. So Harold is now repaying the kindness of the countries that aided Elbaf during its famine. If you aid us, it might benefit you, but if you forget and protect an unaffiliated nation, it only decreases your chances of joining. Right. This is really putting in the forefront this hypocrisy of the new world, of the world government. I mean, that Harold hopefully will have the scales fall from his eyes and realize it's not all it's cracked up to be. None of these prisoners are people to us. Harold leaps from his ship. After feigning allegiance to the government, he sinks an innocent warship. Ah, damn. Uh-huh. So this is now the downfall of Harold in the eyes of the world government. Interesting. And this is definitely, it's not like they're not actually interested, obviously, in having Elbaf under their thumb. But this is leverage that, you know, Harold failed to go about it the good way. They made him fail. So now they can subjugate him and say, okay, you can join, but under the condition that you are just our fighting slaves. Okay. So it is the bar. It is the bar that we saw where Colin was hanging out at the beginning of the Elbaf arc. That is the legendary bar. This is the meeting place between Rocks and Harold. Elbaf will be part of the world government one day. He shaves his head. What kind of culture did you get that from? That's kind of... There's the scene where the Marines all shave their heads into mohawks. out of shame and respect for the vice admiral who leads them, whose name eludes me, but he has a mohawk. Is there another example? Is this an allusion to something? I don't know. Garp laughed at me too. How much he hates the brass he works for. He should just be a pirate already. Some are miscreants, but as a whole, the Navy works hard to save lives on a daily basis. Ah, this is the origin of John Giant. Ah, you remember the... Okay, so John Giant is a vice admiral. In the very first scene we get of Marine HQ, he's leading a like salute, a procession, and he's not obviously a giant in that scene. But then later, Oda decided that he was a giant because I think he realized he could be a giant. It's also not obvious that he's not a giant. And it's in an SBS that he reveals that dude's name is John Giant, and he is a giant. If only I could send more of our overly powerful warriors, I know their strength would go a long way towards helping the downtrodden. Harold were my son, I think I'd say choose better friends. And there's the kids hanging out. Loki and Hadrian. Okay. Now here we are, get to see the young Navy elite fleet. They're very racist towards the giants. Garp, yup. Honest, well-meaning man. He wants to change Elbaf history. Sengoku, of course. Otsuru, yeah. They're all vice admirals. Garp, of course, remains a vice admiral forever. And there's Kong, who's just an admiral right now. He's not even the fleet admiral yet. Do you think we'll ever see Kong fight? I don't think so. I think he's just there to aura farm. He's just there to look cool. Historically speaking, they've been a vicious people, and I want them on our side. And Garp is being very pragmatic here. I don't think he's wrong. Who in these opening panels is the one that's being so skeptical of the giants? That's unclear to me. Is it Garp that's saying that? It doesn't seem like Garp would be saying that, given what he says in the panels where we can see him talking. And it seems like Otsuru is also for this. It seems like all of them are for this. I guess it's Kong. Kong is the skeptic here. Okay, now we're back in full lead. Shaki retiring from the Kuja Pirates to go settle down and run the bar, I guess. This is when this happens? Because, yeah, she'd been running that bar for a long-ass time. And all these insane Shaki fans. See, this is so good. There's so much information being conveyed to us here in terms of like world building, in terms of history, in terms of all these characters and their individual arcs and stuff. This is like an entire like Wikipedia article. Like you look up the history of the Navy in One Piece. You look up the history of the Kuja Pirates in One Piece. And this is just paragraphs and paragraphs of text. And I think, honestly, if there was a series that was so indulgent in showing us this stuff and so indulgent in fleshing all this stuff out, I would prefer to consume it as a Wikipedia article. I would read, wow, there was like imagine this is like a 50-book fantasy novel series or something. I'd be like, damn, they really got into it. I don't want to read this. But here, and I'm sure it's true of those fantasy novels too, but this is the format I'm used to, there's so much personality in all of these little scenes, not just scenes that inform us of something, but scenes that have a laugh, scenes that have funny character moments, scenes that have, you know, moments of tension, moments of drama, moments that just kind of give you a glimpse into the character's psyche a little deeper. And it's like unclear to me, like, why are we seeing all this stuff? What is this all building to? I really don't know. But I like it. I just am liking it on a moment-to-moment basis, above and beyond what it's telling me about the characters. Like, this is so funny. I only wanted to be a pirate because I thought she would attack me and I wanted to see her. Shaggy thinks she's doing. Raleigh. Chasing after Raleigh. Even the Island of Women can't defeat love. I don't even know if it's even the Island of Women can't defeat love, but literally everyone on the Island of Women is like one-shotted by love. The way you crank out babies like popcorn. If it's with Roger, I'll never forgive her. Yeah, this little love triangle thing. Meanwhile, lots of very sudden cuts here. Here there's not even a buffer frame to suggest the cut. And I feel very lucky that I noticed this because Gloriosa and Stussy don't look that dissimilar. So I think you could be forgiven if you thought this was somehow one all continuous scene. Also, who's this little dude? That looks like the dude in the Big Mom Pirates. In the top right panel, there's these like little kids running around that are this Big Mom's. Oh, okay, yeah, Big Mom. Yeah. Big Mom. Why is Big Mom hanging out with the Kuja Pirates? I guess Gloriosa came to hang out with them on Full Lead. Okay. So this is one continuous scene. They're all in the same spot. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, and then Stussy's fixation on Whitebeard, which of course we know leads to Weevil eventually. Okay. So yeah, the Kuja Pirates are now arriving. Shaki arrives. Oh, so yeah, Lady Gloriosa is in the Rocks Pirates. After she quit the Kuja Pirates, she joined the Rocks Pirates. Crazy. She just wants to live here for a bit. Okay, interesting. And this is her first bar, I guess, before she moves to Sabaody. She builds a bar on Full Lead. Okay. Shaki's ripoff bar. You're my very first customer. Even Rocks is instantly swayed. Okay. Soon become an irreplaceable treasure to the pilots who made this island their home. What is treasure if not something that can be stolen? If you warriors of Elbaf meet the following requirement, you'll be allowed to join the world government. Kill Rocks. Okay. So we're definitely building to a head now. Lots of very indulgent scenes, like I said. It's unclear if any of this lore is really going to be that impactful, even just to this flashback, let alone the greater story outside of this flashback. But you can just tell that Oda has so much love for these characters. Like, why not show us our beloved trio of vice admirals that end up being major characters in this pretty incidental, pretty minor moment, just to see them? Why not show the establishment of Shaki's first bar, even though it's not even the bar where we met her at? Why not? Because we love Shaki. She's so cute. She's so cool. She's so powerful. And then, now we get to the forward action of the flashback. Kill Rocks. So we'll see what happens. Obviously he's not down with what Rocks is doing, but he's been pretty buddy-buddy with Rocks, so he might have a hard time with this. At the same time, he clearly really wants in the world government. Alright. See ya later.